Prophet of thought.
Get ready.
The Prophet of Thought series. Prophet of Thought series. Prophet of Thought series.
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Prophet of Thought series, right here on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. I'm your host X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why you are here. Tonight, got a very special show for y'all tonight. Tonight, boy, it's gonna I don't know what to expect tonight, to be honest with y'all, but it's gonna be a good show. Got a brother coming on here tonight that I have been a fan of for quite some time. I actually watch a lot of his stuff. He has some very strong opinions about some things. Now, I don't always agree with him now. Don't always agree with him, but he has some very strong opinions about things. And I've actually been trying to get him up on here to bring him to y'all for quite some time. As you can see in the title down there, tonight's show, Edward Anderson live, or as y'all know him as, or I know him as, Hurricane Edward. The name says it all. Me and what's going on up there? Nima Buckner piece. I emailed you back today, but it's not going through because my email is acting up. Okay, that's cool. Maybe we'll Lady Niam, I'm probably pronouncing your name wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe we can do something next week. Maybe we'll link up next week, like next Wednesday or something. If that's all right with you, if you got the time. Yeah, so got Hurricane Edward on tonight, and tonight we're going to be talking about black male guilt. Something that I'm quite familiar with, and I'm pretty sure a lot of brothers are familiar with. Those of you who are on media quite often, you know, there's this thing when it comes to black women and black men on the media airwaves. You know, there's a rub there, there's a friction there, there's tension there, and you know, the days of late, or should I say the years of late, Black men have been speaking their piece about it. There's a lot of talk about it, as far as black men go, and we're gonna get into it with old brother Edward, brother Hurricane Edward. Also, let me do this. Y'all know I have to do this. I want to thank y'all for the donations from last week. I actually got a few donations yesterday also. So I want to thank y'all for doing that. Those of you, you know who you are, because I always sit down, write you a personal email whenever you send me a when you send me a donation. I sit down, write you a personal email, whether it's 5 of y'all, 50 of y'all, or 500 of you. Like I always say, I never send you a computer generated email. I actually sit down and write you a personal email, because I really appreciate when you send your hard-earned money, okay, into TPOT. All right, because you don't have to do that. You don't have to send your coins up in here, but you choose to do it. Okay, so you must see some type of value in this platform. You see some type of value in the things that I present to you. You see some type of value in TPOT, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm humbled and honored, and I greatly appreciate it. And like I'll say this again, you know who you are, because whenever you send me something, or X will sit down and write you an email. If I haven't wrote you an email and you sent me a donation, you know one's coming, because sometimes I gotta go. I got a couple emails that y'all donate through, because y'all donate through a lot of different things. So once I go through all of them and I see who it is, y'all know I always write y'all a personal email thanking you for your contribution. So once again, I thank you. But yeah, and also tomorrow. Tomorrow, make sure you have your black behinds here, because tomorrow on DXL, on the TPOT YouTube page, we're going to be talking about the Republican Negro. Yeah, the Republican Negro. I'm gonna have Brother Obsidian on, and I'm also gonna have my man Corey Hayward on. So you know it's gonna be crazy, because Corey Hayward is freaking nutso. But yeah, so have them plus a few of the other usual suspects. So just make sure you have your behinds here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, on the TPOT YouTube page, home of DXL, because tomorrow is going to be crazy, sort of like tonight. So while we sit up here and wait for Hurricane Edward, I don't know. Let me see what's going on. Hit him up. I don't know if he got the link or not. Okay, there you go. I see him. I see you up there, brother Edward. So I'm gonna go ahead and also those of you, a couple of you wrote me too about the Facebook group. Don't worry, I took care of it. If you go in there and check now, you see that you've been accepted, because y'all wrote me and y'all said y'all couldn't get in there. I know sometimes my admins, they be on some craziness, because they be, believe it or not, y'all, they be blocking my shit. They block my shit. Sometimes my shit is held for review. Okay. Now, the Prophet of Thought series is my platform, but the Prophet of Thought series Facebook group, they actually be blocking my shit. I'm like, what's good with that? So, don't get too upset about it. I did take care of it. So if you look in there now, you'll see that you have been accepted in the group, because I did talk to him the other day. So you should be in there now. All right. I mean, my admins, sometimes I got to get on them, y'all, because they be bugging out. They be bugging out. Because, see, I don't admin it. I don't have any administrative control over it, believe it or not. Other people do it. So it don't be me. So don't get mad at me, y'all, because it's not me. Because, like I said, my shit be getting blocked sometime. Figure that one out. So don't worry about it. You go in there, you check. You should be straight now. But yeah. Also, a couple of you that follow me on Twitter, I actually went into my Twitter thing today, and I did follow many of you back. All those that follow me, I followed y'all back. Instagram, I haven't gotten to that yet because I know a few of y'all follow me on Instagram. I haven't gotten to that one yet, because I'm kind of busy. I'm not as busy as I normally am, but I am kind of busy. But I'm going to get to it. Okay, I am going to get to it. So, like I always say, you follow me on Instagram, you always get a follow back. So don't get mad at me if I haven't followed you back already. It's just that I haven't gotten around to checking it. It's hard, man. I got a lot of stuff going on. I got like 10 different emails. I got the emails for this platform, and I also got my business emails that I got to stay on top of, for my business. So a lot be going on. So don't get mad at me. All right. Don't be angry with me, people. Do not be angry with me. Okay. I'm working on it. And I got you. So let me see who we got in here tonight while we raid on Brother Edward. We got Lady Naima. I know I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I see my wife in the chat. I see B.I.J. What's good, brother? Simply Deep in the house. Sweet Jones, what's good? Brother Edwards up in here, even though he ain't came on this damn stream yet. Captain T. Kirk, man, I told you I was going to take you off a block, man. I don't know who blocked you, brother. I don't know who did that. As a matter of fact, like I told you, bam. All right. So that's that. You don't have to worry about getting blocked no more. Gorillas in the Mist. I don't know who you are, but welcome anyway. Yeah, I don't know how you got blocked, brother Captain James, man. You've been watching my stuff for a while. I don't know who did that, brother. But don't worry about it. It's not gonna happen no more. All right. It's not gonna happen anymore. Sometimes, my mods, they be getting crazy sometimes. Some of them kind of trigger happy, and then sometimes they slow as hell on the draw. Yeah, sometimes they trigger happy, and sometimes, man, they be sleep. They have the gun on safety because they be letting bullshit go through sometimes. That's why I'm always checking in on my mods. Notice sometimes you see people that had a wrench, now they don't got one. Then you see people who don't have a wrench, now they got one. So, you know how that go. Every now and then you gotta, what's up, brother Marcus? Every now and then you gotta, you gotta clean the gallows from time to time, man, with this YouTube shit, man, because shit be crazy sometimes. Y'all know how it is, because this thing kind of fluctuates, man, with the wind patterns. It fluctuates with the tide. Some people come into your thing, they start off good, and then they start not liking you, so they do crazy shit. So you got to take them out, and then you got people who come in who actually, they're sharp and they pay attention and they kind of trustworthy, digitally trustworthy. So you mod them up. So, I never give people too much warning when I'm going to mod them or when I'm going to snatch the damn wrench from them. I don't say it. You just look up one day and your shit's gone, or you look up one day and you got a wrench. That's how that goes. All right. That's how that goes. I got a few more moderators I got to go through because I have a lot of them. So I got to go through some of them. Some of them I got to get out of there because I don't like the shit they do, some of them. So some of them I got to get out of there, and I'm going to be bringing some new ones in, as this channel grows. I'm going to separate the wheat from the chaff, and that's how we're going to operate from here on in. Brother Edward, man, I see you up there, man. What's going on, man? Did you get the link, Brother Edward? That's it. Pretty sure you got it. Hey, what's up, Lady Zula? I probably got her name wrong too. Sorry about that. I never get that name wrong. Get that name right either. Yeah. So that's where we at, man. And also tell y'all, we might be starting to do another oh, you was in the wrong chat room. We might start doing another stream. We might start doing streams on either Sunday or Tuesday. I'm not sure yet. Because, those of you who follow the Proper Thought series, y'all know spring, summer, early fall is a busy, busy time for me because I run my own business and it's hell on wheels. It's sun up to sundown. But now it's starting to get a little cooler. So my business has slowed down. So y'all know I kind of ramp it up in the wintertime. So we might be doing another stream. We might be doing 3 streams a week. I don't know. Don't hold me to that. I got to see how it goes. I don't really know yet. So don't hold me to that, but that's something we might be doing because we might be starting another series because y'all know this is the Prophet of Thought series. So we might be starting another series. So this might be it might be something new. I don't want to speak on it right now because I don't want to take it out of the bag just yet because it's not 100% confirmed. But when it is, y'all will see the promo and all that kind of stuff, because we'll do that. We'll do a promo so everybody will know and all that kind of stuff. All right. So that's what we got going on right now. We're gonna try to do some new things. Y'all know we always mix it up. Those of you who have followed this platform for a while, this platform changes from time to time. It evolves, so just be looking out for that as well. Those of you who follow the Prophet of Thought series, y'all know y'all have seen this platform change quite a bit. Y'all have seen people come in it, go out of it, come in it, go out of it. Y'all have seen how it has went from one type of thing to another. So, I mean, y'all know I'm always trying to bring it new and keep it funky for y'all, make it so y'all can give y'all a few different looks, because I don't want it to stay the same old stuff all the time. I try to change it up a little bit for y'all. I have been making pre-recorded videos because I was getting people were writing me about that too. Oh man, why you don't make pre-recorded videos anymore? Because I didn't have time. But now, you check the site, you'll see a few pre-recorded videos. The latest one was pretty good. The latest Dark Exodus was pretty good. I actually had someone else was on it. I know it's kind of refreshing to see someone else, hear someone else's voices besides mine. So, that one was pretty decent. I hope y'all enjoyed that one. I'm gonna have a few more like that where you're gonna hear other voices, you're gonna hear other speakers talking. So, I'm gonna give y'all a few different looks. You're gonna see a few different looks as time goes on. All right. So, with that being said, if you're feeling generous, throw a few coins in the bucket, as we sit here and wait for Hurricane Edward. I don't know what the hell happened to him. maybe he had to reset his modem. And look at this, man. See now I'm going to chastise y'all. See, we was doing all right. We was having a nice conversation, but now I have to chastise y'all because I'm looking at this number and I'm looking at this number and they don't match. This number should match this number. I have this many people in here, but I only have this many likes. So we're going to do what we always do. We're going to do our exercise, right? This is why y'all do this, right? Because y'all want to see me do it, right? Fine. I will do it for you. I want you to take that hand nice and slow. Yeah, nice and slow. And I want you to move it slowly. Oh, wrong hand. I want you to take that hand nice and slow. And I want you to move it. Even if your mouse is all the way over here, I don't care. I want you to take it and move it nice and slow. Get it right over that like button, just like that. And click, and you're done. Takes 3 seconds, man. You're in here, you might as well hit the like button. Why? Let me ask y'all something while we waiting for Brother Edward. Why is it that y'all will come in here, y'all will watch, right? But you won't hit the like button? I mean, obviously, if you're in here, you must like something, unless y'all just turning it on, unless y'all turning the stream on and walking away. Is that what you're doing? Are y'all turning the stream on and then walking away and doing some other shit? Is that what y'all doing? Y'all turn, oh, let's turn X on, see what he's talking about. Then y'all walk off and cook dinner, make a sandwich, watch the game, play Xbox. Is that what's going on here? How do I have 30 people in here, but I only have 18 likes? How is that, man? That doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me. What? Y'all turn the stream on and then what? You throw your mouse in the garbage? I know y'all got one of those little touch, even if you threw your mouse in the garbage, I know you got one of those little touch pads, on your laptop where you can slide it. You can just take it and slide it over and hit the like button. Come on. Come on. This is craziness now. This is craziness. What the hell happened to Brother Edward? Hurricane Edward, you better not stand me up, man. The hell? Better not stand me up. Maybe he waiting for, I might have sent it to the wrong email. Let me see. I just sent it to the wrong email. I'm going to send it again, Brother Edward, if you're out there listening. I'm going to send it to the wrong email. There you go. I know he was just in the chat, so I don't know how. Something must be going on with his internet. Something must be going on with his internet. But yeah, next week, Lady Naima, send me an email if you still have my email and give me an idea. If you still want to come on, send me an idea of what you want to talk about. All right. And we'll set something up for next week. And you can get on up here and talk about the stuff you wanted to talk about, because you had some strong opinions the last time you was up on here. So send me an email and we'll figure something out, and maybe I'll schedule it for next Wednesday if you're available. There he is, my most honored guest. What's up, Brother Edward?
All right, my bad. My computer decided to go on strike on me at the last minute because I was right there, and I was like, "Oh my God." Anyway, I'm here. So yeah.
All right. So you and I have been talking as a first, welcome, brother. Good to have you on. All that kind of stuff. Been trying to get you on here for a minute, man. You said you wanted to talk about black male guilt. So won't you go ahead and tell us what you think that is?
Well, just keep in mind, I'm 32 years old, so I am a millennial, even though I'm an older millennial. And a lot of people thought I was older than 32. But here's the thing. Black male guilt, from my perspective, is this kind of, what I call it is the universal solvent, meaning it's kind of the idea that because there's been so much over the decades of Black women basically selling the idea for various reasons that anything that's wrong with them is due at the common denominator to a Black man, that you have a lot of Black men that actually believe that to a certain extent. They have the mindset of where there's smoke, there must be fire. So if you got women wailing up and down, yelling, saying, my daddy wasn't there, this dude ain't shit, this dude left me, this dude abandoned me, you can't have kids on your own, just things to basically deflect from personal accountability. Because I believe that no matter if you're a man or a woman, once you're an adult, you become accountable to your outcomes at the end of the day. And basically, you have a lot of dudes in the manosphere that pretty much use black male guilt sayings such as, if you do what you're supposed to do, she'll do what she's supposed to do. Or I call it the color purple argument, where the reason why black women have a contempt towards black men is because fundamentally it was something that black men did or did not do. And it's just, and you hear it come up in a lot of different arguments. You hear it come up in, you know, stuff like that. I hope that answered the question, but that's my mindset on that.
Well, I will have to agree with you. Because I've been on this YouTube thing for a couple of years, and when you talk about this guilt stuff, people talk about it on media, but a lot of us experience it in real life. Us as black men, we have been conditioned to think that we should be guilty. We have been conditioned to think that feel we should feel a degree of guilt for not just what's going on inside black society, but the way black society is concerning women and or children, for that matter. Even though the saying goes that black women are the backbone of black society, it often appears that they have to be. It comes across as if they have to be that backbone because black men have not lived up to their quote unquote expectations, if you will. And see, I rub against that. I rub against that because black men, especially now, okay, black men now have seen the light. At least the ones that I have come across and the ones that I deal with on media, and black men understand their value, their worth. I think that over a course of time, women have devalued black men. Women have made it appear that black men are worth a lot less than they really are. And they have taken that worth and put it on themselves. The black man he's not worth much. He doesn't have high value. And I think men now come against that. They rub against that because now black men understand that they are valuable, that they are worthy, that they are, quote unquote, a prize or the prize, if you will. And I think that we still wear kind of that guilt. I think we still carry it, many of us, because it shows when you hear how some of these brothers talk. They kind of cover for certain aspects in black society, especially when you're talking about the things that pertain to women. They put a cover on it. All right.
Exactly.
They put a cover on it because see, they don't want to be on the side of the men that say, hey, look, we're black men, we have value. Some of these women in black society need to shape up, et cetera, et cetera. They don't want to be on that side. They don't want to be on that side with us saying that. And this is coming from me, and I'm a married man. Okay. And the things that I talk about on here, I talk about the same stuff with my wife all the time. My wife watches my show, so she knows exactly what kind of dude I am, and she knows exactly the type of crap that I talk. All right. And she'll tell you, I could bring her in here right now, and she'll be like, yep, the stuff he talks about on here, he pretty much says the same shit in the house. So, but on a greater point, I think that the guilt that many black men feel may not necessarily be their fault, because a lot of us have been groomed to feel that guilt. Would you agree?
Yes and no. I do agree that we have been groomed to feel the guilt. But at some point, but what's ironic is most of that guilt comes from you got to start the older. Look, I'm not one of these dudes that's blame the older generation for everything. Just like every generation, you look at what worked and what didn't. There's a lot of things that the Xers had to go through that the things that the Xers had to go through that the baby boomers had to. There's a lot of things the millennials have had to go through that the Xers and baby boomers go through. And what you do is you take the good and the bad. You don't have this Oh, you just blanket everything. Now, if there's an overall point you need to have to not repeat that thing, I'm a big believer in don't or learn from history, and I mean real history, like real history, so you don't have to repeat it. But I'm not one of these dudes who's like, oh, blame the last generations because I don't have what I have. They didn't either. So I do agree with that. I do agree that the cycle starts, that you're groomed to believe that when you're young. Absolutely. But what you see is the older generations are the ones that perpetuate that more. And the reason, so if the older you get, the more you seem to have them dudes do that. Now, I think the reason for that is because, sorry, my throat is like coming at me, is because they dealt with a different type of black woman. Just like how you got to understand the difference between first wave, second wave, third wave, and now we're coming in the fourth wave feminists. The track is a little bit different, even with black women, because if you look at the first wave feminists, they were more about racism, like your Sojourner Truths, feminists always try to put up Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was about black people. She wasn't really about black men, and obviously she understood what black women played a role in that, but she wasn't what you would call a feminist, even though they keep trying to put her up there. That's even a different track than necessarily white women. You got to understand that women pre-1960 were completely different. I would say women pre-1975 are a completely different type of woman than what you were dealing with like post-1990, almost to the point where they are physically built differently. Like black women, and I'm going to tell you why I say that. Black women, before they started getting, and when I say welfare, look, understand this, I'm not talking about blaming black women for welfare, not yet. But when you look at the government cheese and all that stuff, spam and all that stuff, how they put stuff in that. They put certain type of steroids in that, not like heavy, but little things. And, that was the early stages of them kind of making meat, fattening up the chicken, the GMOs and stuff like that. That was early stages of that. So my point is, even the way these women are built is differently, let alone what that stuff does to your mind. I say that because I don't want people to think that I'm just saying just stuff slide and women did this. That's a part of it, but it's not that. So my point is, we're dealing with a different type of woman. So I understand why those dudes men tend to view all women through the perspective of the women that they were most impressionable by. And that's not just the women that come out of their household. That's the women they kind of went through, I think, their 20s and maybe 30s with, but really I'd say 20s. And that kind of crystallizes in their mind. So when people in my generation or even younger than me say certain shit that women are doing, even men start to say that shit can't be true unless you're doing something, because that is so past what I experience. Like older black men are used to dealing with that passive aggressive bullshit, like what Tina Knowles did. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. That's when she was
Yeah,
getting interviewed. Yeah.
that was kind of like the worst. That's like the worst of what they're used to dealing with. They're not used to dealing with, these women will wholesale fight you because they're that bold that you won't hit them back. See, women back in the day wouldn't do that. Maybe because it was not because men necessarily were more quicker to hit women. It's because the society was different. You know what I'm saying? Like they understood that if a dude is more likely to hit back, even if they didn't, they thought it and they acted accordingly, versus women now. But World Star Hip Hop with that ratchet stuff on Love and Hip Hop and stuff like that, that stuff is taught our women. Our women have grown up in that. So me saying all of that is to say this: I understand why it is, but the older generation tends to perpetuate those mentalities, and you can literally trace it. Even dudes that are like in their 40s, Boyce Watkins, George May, dudes are in their early 40s. You tell the difference between them and the 50s. And when you get like maybe 35 and below, which is where really the millennial cutoff is, it's like 36, 37 now, really 36, 35. And I'm an older millennial. You start to see it change a little bit. And then when you get to my younger brothers in their early 20s, then they not on that stuff at all. They like, oh, hell to the no. I don't have no kids, so whatever. So I hope that answered the question.
Well, because I'm a Gen Xer, we grew up in a different time. We didn't grow up with internet and YouTube and World Star Hip Hop and all this kind of nonsense. We didn't grow up with that. So we grew up with what we gained we more often gained from what was around us, and maybe a little influence from television, a little, because we didn't have all of this, internet. When I was a young guy, there was no internet, there were no cell phones and all that kind of stuff. There was none of that.
Yeah,
So
way before social media. I mean,
yeah,
but
yeah,
pagers and stuff.
yeah, way before that. Yeah, I had a pager, man, a big old freaking pager that was like this big. If you had a big pager, you was the man. Cell phones were like this big. They were like this. Cell phone was like, and it wasn't even a cell phone, it was a car phone. Okay, it was this big and it had a big old VCR type thing hooked to it, and you hooked that into the light of your car. So I mean, it was just a different time. I think the I think the coming in of internet and social media has taught the so-called millennials to be different and think different. When we were coming up, we were always told, you don't hit a lady, certain things you don't say to a woman, certain things you don't say around a woman. That's what we were taught. I know, and I was raised in a nuclear family, and I was raised primarily by my father. And even my father would say, those things like, oh, never hit a woman, son, certain things you don't say to a lady, that kind of stuff. Now you fast forward to like 2018, that stuff is out the window.
Yeah,
Okay.
but women weren't squatting up like women don't squat up to men like what they did. I'll say this: the one thing I said, number one, women didn't squat up to men like they do today, and I'm not saying they all do, but we've seen it. And another thing is, women would shame each other more. That's another
Yes.
thing that's gone. That shaming stuff. That's the first thing those feminists took out was the idea of shaming. They're big on talk about men bashing, but when it comes to women shaming each other, see, women handle their side and dudes handle their side. And what happened was somewhere along the line, that chain was broken. And you could argue with
Did we lose brother Edward? I think we lost him, y'all. We might have lost brother Edward. I guess he gonna fix it. But to his point, you back,
oh,
brother
okay.
Edward? Yeah, we lost you there, man, for a minute. You back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. To your point though, you're right. I mean, it was different back then. I mean, some of the stuff you see now in 2018, when you talk about what a particular group of women do nowadays. Back when I was growing up, other women would check these women, the quote unquote good women, if you will, would check these women if they were doing, ratchet hoe bag stuff, if they said certain things, act a certain way, wore certain kind of clothes, that kind of stuff. The older women would check those women. Okay. I've seen it. Okay. I've seen it all my young life. All right. So men didn't really have to check women. They just didn't, because other women did. There was there was a different degree of order. There was some order there, because for a woman back then, for a woman to be expected to be treated like a quote unquote lady, she had to conduct herself like said lady. And in return for that, men gave you that respect, where certain things they wouldn't say to you, certain things they wouldn't do around you. I know when I was coming up as a young guy, most men, they didn't curse in the present, they didn't use profanity or curse in the presence of women, that kind of thing. But you look at it now, women have, and that's the thing, this is what puzzles me. Women have gone way past that. I mean, that's dead and gone, where you got the older women checking the younger women, and where women make it their business to conduct themselves like ladies. Those days are dead and gone.
Yeah, you
But
got grandma hoes now.
yeah, you got old hoes with they 70 years old and they still got the whole twinkle in their eye. Yeah, I know. I've seen them. And what happens is these women who act this way, peace, brother Gab Talk, I see you up there. Women who act this way, they want to be this way, but they want that old chivalry from 40 and 50 years ago. And they actually, to your point of black male guilt, they actually want to guilt black men into showing them that chivalry that 50 years ago they actually earned. You understand? You understand? They actually earned the right for a brother to be chivalrous 50 years ago. They want to be ratchet now. They want to be hoe bags now. They want to be belligerent. They want to be toxic. They want to be disrespectful, but they want to guilt brothers to still show that whatever chivalry, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like, and I don't agree with everything Obsidian says, but this is how I see it, the way I look at it. When you look at how the matriarchy, they're trying to construct it, is they're trying to have this 70 or 8, not 70, or yeah, they're trying to have this like 90-10 rule where, or 85-10, like 85-7 rule, where like 85% of women are like trying to go after dudes that I call what you can get it status. These are dudes, like these are not necessarily which is dudes is like just on site. The way a lot of these women are wired, they will have sex with that dude, nothing. Like no date, no nothing. Let's do Netflix and chill. Let's not even do that. Like I call them on site dudes. And then what happens is they want, I wouldn't, outside of maybe like dudes that are outside the 20% range, like, so the 80%, they want dudes to basically be the very beta males that people like to call beta males. They want those dudes to be like worker bees or worker ants, which is they're the ones that take care of the actual infrastructure while they basically play polygamy with these 7, 8, 9% of dudes. These are not necessarily dudes that are like Pookies and Ray Rays. These are dudes that like what Ron Wills would call select, but I call those like super select because that's even beyond the 80-20 rule. And you see this all the time. Like Future is working on his 6 baby mama. So Sierra was 4, like I always said she was. But anyway, you see this also in cities like Memphis, where you got dudes, and between 3 of them, they got 72 kids between 3 dudes. Now we can blame the dudes. I would agree that they need to be sterilized. Now, obviously, that's a slippery slope because a history of that. But my thing is, what happened to all the women? Even if I let the first 3 women go of each one of the dudes, and go after the rest of the 4, at what point do these women volunteer for that? And that's like the motivation behind that. And I'm a big person about really finding what motivates a behavior, because that's where you really see where somebody is about. So even though I can get passionate about certain things, at the end of the day, I really want to gather consensus and see what's going on, because too many people fall in love with the emotionality of things. Like, if we can't tell the truth about what's really happening, how the structure is, you got people out here talking about, well, women got lower body counts than dudes. That may be true at one point. Like I said, pre-1980, I might give you that. But after like 2005, no. Since the advent of social media, come on, man. But that's what you got people trying to sell out here. And the point at the end of the day is this. You have a majority of women that are basically trying to get something, but they are trying to get the alpha bucks, beta bucks plan. They want a dude that can be an insurance policy they can fall back to, that they did not choose. And you have to require a certain amount of deception in order, because a dude is going to default to his logic. Heterosexual men will default to their logic eventually, especially if they're getting negative stimulus or they're getting a bad deal. And men tend to get very instinctually competitive when it comes to things like sex. So they're going to start to think very quickly when things add up. The only way to counteract that is to get them early and get them young, to create this illusion to where they have this debt that they can never repay to black women because of past slights. And when you hear black women really talk really fucking crazy, they'll start to talk about how even in Egypt, I've heard black women say, even in Egypt, you got black men chasing, because it's the black man chasing a white woman. The myth that every black man has put his dick in a white woman at some point, or they've lusted for white women. Now, you look at Meghan Markle getting married to that white man, and you look at how social media reacted to that, how the news reacted to that, how black female culture reacted to that. Not all black women, but we saw it. And you look at, like, name a dude that's with a white woman. I mean, you got to out dudes that's with white women, because dudes don't be talking like that. So anyway, at the end of the day, they're trying to get that. When you look at the accounting, this is not a partnership I would sign up for. And by the way, this is a partnership that you can't find me that any other man has ever signed up for. Even matriarchies in Africa is not constructed like this. Matriarchs in Africa, women know their role and men still lead. That's what people don't understand. Really, we're in a gynocracy, and it hasn't crystallized yet. And now you got dudes that are just saying screw it, because they're not accepting the programming anymore, because interracial dating is more accepted. Dudes are starting to think about traveling overseas. Black women have been just so fucking off the chains that it's really almost to the point where you can't tolerate anymore, because black women had it. Black men were willing to be stepfathers, and black women fucked that up. They're never going to get that back. That was really the best they had it at that point. Once the stepfather generation died, and your generation was like the last stepfather generation, it was a slide from then. Because once we saw how a lot of them women did those dudes, and they were not following the rules that were established to make that work, dudes my age said, fuck that, I just want to have kids. Now, I want to have kids, but I'm either going to get married. I'm not having kids with a woman that's not childless. And now these women are finding that out. This is first generation of women where you're starting to see that change. But anyway, yeah.
Well, do you think that, because I can kind of go along with that, being a Gen Xer, I can kind of go along with, we coming up, because when I was a young guy, I was with a baby mama too, so you do feel some kind of guilt to a degree. You feel guilt. And because, see, you meet this woman, you like her, and y'all start having sex and all that kind of stuff, and it turns into a relationship, and she's got, like 2 kids or whatever. So you just kind of drift into it, even if it wasn't your plan. That wasn't your plan. Your plan wasn't to be with her and, her and her 2 babies at the park. That was not your plan. It wasn't. You just kind of drift in that plan like a piece of wood that's floating in the ocean, and you just kind of drift into shore. You drift into that kind of stuff, man.
I've seen it.
Yeah, you do it because you do feel a degree of guilt. You feel guilt. You know why you feel? I know. I'm gonna tell you why I felt guilt about it. I felt guilt about it because I didn't want to not be around this woman because she had kids, if that made any sense. I didn't want that to be the reason. I felt guilty about saying to her, look, I can't be with you like this. You got these kids, because for some reason, I had it in my mind back then when I was a young guy. I had it in my mind that if I liked her, I was supposed to go ahead and, accept the kids, because, see, that guilt, okay, that guilt that was being drilled into our heads, it played over and over. You like the girl, she got the kids. Guess what? You got to this is what you got to accept. It's a package deal, and the whole litany of nonsense that you hear that comes along with it.
And I would say, and here's the thing, I wouldn't completely disagree with that. But the answer to that is, I get why y'all thought that, but the answer that my generation is coming up with is pretty much just don't have. Now, I'm not gonna lie, all dudes don't do this. I'd argue a lot of dudes don't do this, but dudes that are really serious about this, there's some women that I can show you that if I was really not about what I'm talking about, Like I know a lot. Like it ain't because she's light skinned, but you know them mixed women, right? And it's not like they mixed in a model-esque look. They got kind of girl next door looks, like maybe short hair and stuff like that. I know a chick that she's younger than me too. She's like 3 years younger than me. And she's got like 5 kids. She's got 6 kids. Very beautiful kids, right? They all like look like her. Very beautiful kids. And she looks good. She's got that, I guess, snapback as far as body and stuff like that. Very attractive personality, and she's very attractive. I would not even if she had 2 kids or 1 kid, I wouldn't do it because that's got to be the discipline. There's women I know that, oh yeah, they look good. And they got kids, and their kids are actually pretty well behaved. And I'm cool with them, but I wouldn't have sex with them. And I would tell dudes not to. Not because you're rejecting them. It's not about rejecting them, it's about your legacy. Like, what does your legacy look like because basically you're volunteering to be in a kind of a polygamous relationship when you do that. And I'm willing. Here's the thing. I understand why the last generation did what they did. See, I get that. But with what we know now, this is what millennials don't like to accept. There is responsibility for what you know now. Like, stepfather situations don't necessarily. Now, look, I came from a good stepfather situation. I've seen plenty of my friends that come from good stepfather situations. So I've seen it work. It can work. The problem is the women today are not formatted the way the women in my generation, in your like the last generation, were formatted, because they were the type of women that kind of understood that as long as you winning out of the deal, let the man feel like the man. Don't let him know you winning. Just don't talk about it. And let him, let them come together, because the outcome I'm benefiting. So they were smart enough to to keep score of those outcomes. This generation doesn't feel like that. This generation wants to really make you believe you're superior. They're superior to you. And they don't understand that when you do that, that's creating a situation in which a dude is going to compete. And when you put a man in that posture, he's going to want to beat you. When I say beat you, not physically, but I just mean get that status back. But at the end of the day, man, yeah, there's plenty of single mothers that look good and can get it. But dudes have to create a discipline to not deal with them. And then when I say dudes, I'm talking about dudes that have resources and dudes that have options. So you need to start looking at intercultural dating, and that means dating Black women of other cultures, island women. I ain't even necessarily talk about going overseas. I'm talking about being here and finding where they are. You need to start. Hey, I'm not against it. I separate who a man has sex with and who a man gives his legacy to. So marriage and kids is different. You could be a Black man and have sex with white women and then say, I'm done with that, and then find you a Black woman. Because you technically only need one Black woman to have kids and get married to. See what I'm saying? So to me, I don't see that as a betrayal. But I separate that from having interracial kids. So my point is, dudes need to answer the sexual supply question without dealing with single mothers, because at the end of the day, it's not fair to her. It's not fair to the kids. It's just not. And it's a bad situation. But at the end of the day, they signed up for that. We got Roe v. Wade. These women, a lot of these women that's got kids have had abortions. So that Crimea River bullshit, I do not give a damn about that. They having a kid is equivalent to adding 50,000 miles on the car. Sorry, that's what it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, we often talk about this stuff, brother Edward, and I tell brothers all the time.
Sorry, and I'll stop being so long-winded too.
That's you, man. You are Hurricane Edward. Let me tell you something, man. I tell young brothers a lot, man, especially young brothers that I know that are young. They got a little something going on in their life. I tell them flat out, man, don't mess with the baby mamas. Yeah, I tell them straight out, don't mess with the baby mamas. And I get pushback from that, but I don't care. Okay. Don't mess with the baby mamas. Number one, because see, what you're doing is you're already going into a situation.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm curious. What do they say?
Well, the brothers that I talk to kind of take it in. They feel what I'm saying. They feel what I'm saying. Now, some of them, they know women that they deal with that have a kid or two. But most of them, they're pretty receptive to it, because I tell them to straight out. I'm like, hey, look, man, don't let these women guilt you or shame you into thinking that you have to be with them, and don't Don't let them guilt you or shame you into thinking that they are the same as a woman who has no kids, because that's BS. They're not the same. This is what I tell them about women with kids. I'm like, hey, look, you got this chick, she got a couple kids, right? This is how it goes, and they don't like when I say this, but I say it anyway. If you're with a woman and she has children, for her to be a good girlfriend to you, she has to be a horrible mom. For her to be a good mom to her kids, she has to be a good, if she's going to be a good girlfriend to you, yeah, she's going to be a horrible mom. And for her to be a good mom to her kids, she has to be a horrible girlfriend to you. I mean, that's just the way it is. You can't pull up anytime and take her out. Okay. Because guess what? She's got these kids to take care. If you can have access to her at any given time, she's a shitty mom. Because she has kids, you shouldn't be able to have access to her anytime. All right. Same with her children. If her children don't have access to her anytime because she's got this dude, all right, she's being a shitty mom. So you don't want to be part of that equation. I don't care how good she look or how fat her ass is or how curvy her body is. I don't give a damn about any of that. None of that means anything, because to the bigger point, if you get into a relationship, because you can drift. You drift into an old relationship, man. You just can. You drift into a relationship with her. Guess what? There's more to think about than just you and her. It's you, her, and however many children she have. And the thing is, you're always going to be second fiddle to those children, man. You're not going to be the center of her world. You're not going to be the center of her universe. You're going to be second to those children. All right. That's just a fact. And I don't think any relationship should start off like that, where you and someone are creating a relationship and you're already starting off with her having the upper hand and you being, lower. What's good, BIJ? So, you coming in the lower position right off the rip, because she has these children she has to take care of.
Yeah, there's just no honesty. Or they say, black people, we talk a lot about keeping it real. We some of the most least keeping it real people out there.
Absolutely.
Because the truth is, we use these terms and phrases to act like we really tell it like it is. Most of us don't, because we want to get something out of it and we don't want to stand straight up. And I get it. But at the end of the day, man, it's better to have a posture of telling the truth and living in your truth. And I know that's easy to say, because dudes would be like, oh, that's easy until you got a nice piece of ass that's about to walk away because of blah, blah, blah. And you right in there. And I know what dudes are doing. Dudes really think that they can get a higher caliber of, they're cheating. They think they can get a higher caliber of female because she got a kid. And it's because now she hurting for resources more, because that, life is catching her. She's willing to, it makes it easier to trick off on her, because she'll keep you around. And that's the game. That's the game that a lot of dudes play. That's really what's going on with that, to be honest with you. That's why, and that's another reason why dudes give a pushback, or they'll try to say one kid ain't bad. But the thing about it is, as men, it is our responsibility as a group. And when I say as a group, I'm not talking about all black men, because the reality is 20% of black men are always going to put their penis in a willing woman in general, let alone a black woman. So they can always go to them. But I'm talking about the dudes that are the producers, the dudes that have the resources, like the top 40% of dudes that can actually make stuff happen and produce. They need to be the ones. Women need to understand that there's not a market for that anymore. That's really what it is. And it needs to be harder and harder, because it's not even about like the women that are 10s, 9s, and 8s or 7s that have kids. You got women that are 6s and 4s, quite frankly, that can find a dude somehow that's got kids.
3s.
I mean, it's universal. I know one woman in chat said that, it's not fair to the women that are childless. I mean, the reality is, if you're like a 6.5 and above and you're childless, chances are you don't have to compete. Now, I will say this: if you find that you are competing, what's going on is it's that 80-20 rule, where you got to understand, black women value two things. Women in general, but I'm talking about black women in particular, women in general, but I'm talking about in particular, is you got a dick currency. I call it dick currency, and I call it actual security currency or real currency. Dick currency is dude sexual skills, what you project on that dude based on, whatever, however these women have been formatted to like, right now, it ain't even about dark skin. It's about these Lil Wayne clones. And all these dudes got dreads now. Some of them, I think, got dread weaves, like all this
Hey
kind of.
man, don't be talking shit about dreads, man. Don't
I
be
ain't got
talking.
no word, but hey, as somebody that's grown dreads, that's a trend for the percentage of people that's got dreads. You got all, like I'm telling you, some of these dudes don't got weird dreads. I know dudes that takes time to put that in, as far as to grow that hair out. And that ain't time that all these dudes saw coming, because Lil Wayne and stuff like that ain't that old. My point is, you got a lot of dudes, and when I say you got dudes like these little 5'5", like I said, like skinny dudes that look like they cracked out, but they got long hair dreads, and that's what the women are formatted to like today. I've seen it. And what happens is you got a lot of dudes that's trying not to have dreads because that's who they are, because a lot of them do. You got some dudes in that mix that's what the women want. Just like you got dudes that sag their pants. They follow what the women want as far as what they perceive gives them access. So that's just what they're on today. And as a result, what you have is either that's what they want, so that's what their socializers want, or it's a thing where, it's what they're sexually attracted to as a group. And it's like zombies, where a lot of them are hoarded to those dudes. And so when women say, it's not fair, and I'm not saying that's this particular woman, a lot of times they're competing for dudes, because it's not that dudes don't want them, or the dudes that they don't want are lame, because the white women tend to pick these dudes up. It's what's going on is they are focused, tunnel vision on one dude, and those dudes, regardless of what they do, have all these women, and those tend to be dudes that's got kids. Because as soon as a dude is very, very, very select in a position where a lot of women are after them, a lot of times women will claim that dude by having a baby. That's really what goes on. Just like how women used to leave, panties at somebody's house. That's the new leaving panties at somebody's house, is having a baby by him. They say it just like this. Oh, I got a baby by him. Like, not he's my baby father. He's like, I got a baby by him. Like, that ain't nothing. Like, I got a baby by him, or by him, or by him. I'm like, the way you say it is like, but anyway.
Yeah, well, it was good, brother BMT. I see you up there. I think that often what happens is, because you hear brothers talk about this kind of stuff all the time, and I see one of the ladies in the chat, she said it's not fair, to single women with no kids, because they have to compete with these other women, and they do have to compete with them, because if you have not that this is the way it should be, but often this is how it is. Women who have children usually have to try a little harder. Okay, they have to try a little harder, so they may be quicker to get undressed. They may be a little more assertive / aggressive where men are concerned. They have a tendency to chase men. Women with children usually have to go this route, because see, they understand that they are competing with these other women who do not have kids. It's like because I'm a true believer that you should be chasing, that a man should be chasing women. I don't think that women should be chasing dudes, but a lot of these women actually chase dudes. And when I'm talking about chase, when you use the word chase, that means this thing is running away from you, not running towards you. If you're chasing it, it's running the opposite direction of you.
And what happens is a lot of times they'll go younger too. They will deal with these dudes that are not as because they can't get away with the same stuff for older dudes. Like, that's something that's unique to the community. As to the percentage of, you got 27-year-olds, they'll go for like young 22-year-olds. You see this in our celebrities. Gabrielle Union is 10 years older than Dwayne Wade. Lala Anthony is 5 years older than Carmelo, and she got him young. She was 25. He was like 20. Like, they get them like that. And that's part of, I'm not saying they constantly do it, but they're doing it. That's part of the matriarchal movement. It's interesting given that, you know, Lala is Afro-Latina. So they come from a more machismo family. But when they get into African-American culture, like mainstream culture, that made those matriarchal tendencies come up because that's what the stuff they were on. Also, to answer the question as far as it's not fair, again, here's the thing. That's women's fault though. Women, this is the price of women letting shaming completely go. Because a lot of women will say that, and I'm not saying that's her, but what a lot of women will do is the women that are childless will be the very women that's throwing the baby shower for a chick that's got 3 kids by 3 different dudes on the 4th and circle the wagons around these women. And the women that do speak up are shamed very hard. You know, when it doesn't even have to be, because people say, oh, well, they're light skinned. I remember the woman from Insecure that played Molly when she said she was a virgin. A lot of women came at her hard, talking about there's something wrong with you, because she was like 32 years old and still a virgin. But I mean, even Marilyn Everett said something about, you know, I would cook and clean, you know, for my husband. They came at her wrong. That's another dark skinned woman, and she is technically African American. So it's this mentality that it's just this autopilot mentality. And at the end of the day, women created that when they bought into feminism. I mean, they signed up for that shit. They just did.
Do you think that that's part of the guilt though, when you have these women who are somewhat older than these guys? Because I know a lot of us, especially guys who have done something with themselves, guys who have accomplished, you know, because if you're like a professional athlete, you know, you're making a lot of money. You're an accomplished person. And I think what happens is because our mothers have a tendency to give us guilt, especially if you're someone who has accomplished something. Because what does your mother tell you? You mess around and get rich, you get successful, you have a business. What happens? What does your mother say? Even if she was broke as hell when y'all was young, had you eating roaches and grass growing up, you mess around and get rich. What's she tell you? She guilts you. I'm your mama. I carried you 9 months. I raised you. I did all this kind of nonsense, you know? She's guilting you. She's guilting you so that you can take care of her. That's
Yeah,
what
that's form of
she's guilt.
passive abuse, because other groups
Yes, she's
other
guilting you.
groups do that, but they do it in a different way. Like for instance, in Asian culture, for the most part, I obviously Asian, there is no one Asian culture, but typically there are certain themes, and one of the idea is that, you know, the older the children take care of the parents, you know, but and you see this in Latin culture as well. So this is not anything weird. The problem is how you go about doing it. You know, parents understand that as they age, they get in, unless they move into a role more of like consultant or consigliere. Their rank, even though they got elder status, when it comes to what's actually moving, you know, they may be able to get a seat on the board, but they're no longer the CEO, and they're a board member. They're not like the chairman where they could just start telling the CEO what to do. See, with black women try to maintain that power dynamic. And what they do is they understand that they can't maintain that dynamic once somebody gets older. So they try to choke you with the umbilical cord. And they make sure that umbilical cord never cuts off, because other groups rip their kids away from their mothers as those boys come to age. So they come back as men and not these boys dependent on their mother. And women kind of do that as a group, because if you notice, when black women get mad, they talk about things like yo mama black and all this other stuff. These are things to say, I have the status of your mother because I'm another black woman. And that's how these subconsciously how the
That
game is played.
that's a guilting tactic if you really think
And it's
about it.
by default. It's default. I mean, you notice when you get them mad, all the default shit come up. And I'm not trying to bring up certain YouTubers, but if you look at a lot of these women talk hella shit about black men after what I just said, you hear it. It's either guilt or it's just outright anger because of guilt. And it's always completely directed at black men. You know, I'm gonna say this and then I'll shut up for a second. I ask women this question all the time. And I promise you, different races of women generally answer it right. Black women generally answer it wrong. Do you pick the father for your children? Other races of women say yes. Black women say no. That tells you all you need to know, because they
pretty
understand
much.
that. That tells you all you need to know. Yeah.
Pretty much. Well, we live up here with Hurricane Edward Anderson up here on the TPOT YouTube page. And now y'all about to get chastised again because I'm looking at this number and it doesn't match this number. Do we have to go to this again? Y'all are in here. The least you can do is hit the like button for a brother. I mean, it's not like I'm asking you for $1, but if you do feel kind of generous with your coins, look right here on the old Streamlab tab. You see right there where it says the Proper Thought Series. Look like it's been swiped with a yellow highlighter. Click that Streamlabs button. Throw a few coins in the bucket. It is greatly appreciated because y'all know this is worth money. Y'all know this is worth money. And hit that damn like button or I'll haunt you in your dreams. Well, let me ask you this. If, for instance, if a person, a brother, say a brother is, you got an accomplished brother, say he's your age, he's like in his early 30s, right? He's an accomplished brother, right? And he has these women who get after him. He's got women chasing him all over the place. And a couple of them may have a couple kids and a couple of them don't. Now, if he gets himself involved with a couple of the women who have kids, as well as a couple of the women who do not, do you believe that the women who have the children, do you believe that they will think shaming tactic on him in order to not just deter him from the women who don't have children, but to get him into their good graces because the brother has resources, because he may be an athlete or works corporate America or runs a business or whatever? Do you believe that that is part of it? Part of the guilt comes due to economic reasons as opposed to emotional.
And that's why you see women do it. That's why you see women do it in general, even if it's not like certain dudes. Because understand, shaming is another way to not have to compete. That's like a way of passively, actively trying to maneuver your situation without really having to compete. Because notice what you said. You didn't say like, do sexual favors. You didn't know like them bringing anything to the table that man might value, even when it comes to business or something. We said doing shaming, and partially, and dudes have to understand that. It's mostly economic, because everything we've talked about, you talked about when somebody gets on and gets money, it's about a transfer of resources and labor that's really not earned. It's really not. And or this gain of power. And I'm not talking about to say with parents, but we're talking about generally how that applies with a lot of other women. So at the end of the day, man, if dude came to me saying I'm dealing with like multiple women and I'm managing multiple women, some of them got kids, some of them don't, and then these women are coming at me and shaming it, you tell them, you pretty much as a man, because obviously you're valued because they're there. You need to give whether it's penis currency you're offering or whether it's resources and stuff you're offering.
What do you call it? Penis
dick currency.
Currency?
Because a lot of times with a lot of these women, when we have this, educated, lame or outlier black man versus Pookie and Ray Ray thing, debate at the end of the day, what it is the women prioritize dick currency over real security, because they've been raised to believe that they can do it on their own. They can't give themselves orgasms, but they can, take care of everything else. So that tends to be their mentality. And they find out usually too late that that's not a long-term strategy, but that is what it is. But what I would say is this. I would tell that dude a simple thing. You need to tell them, if I even think you're shaming me, you cut off. In fact, what I would do is I cut one off, especially if they know about each other. I cut one off and say I did it for this reason. So any of y'all play that? Because at that point, if you're in a situation like that, then women are interchangeable. So the shaming tends to have a lesser effect. See, at that point, what their goal is to try to have women wouldn't shame you. Women would do the opposite. They would do everything they can if you got resources to have a baby by you, because that gives them a legal claim on your resources. So they don't have to shame you at that point. And if you notice, some of the most unruly and vitriolic, bitches, and I hate to say it that way, tend to be baby mamas, because at that point they're dealing with a man with money. They got access to his resources through the courts. Because a lot of these dudes don't even fight that and get access to these kids on their own. Because me personally, if I was in that situation, I'm going for full custody straight up. Like, I may meet you halfway with dual custody, but really I'm going for full custody, because I can pay somebody to help me raise a kid before I let you have access to my resources because you think I was going to be a sperm donor. That's if I wind up in that situation. I would let them know straight up, not maybe in an aggressive way, but I would make it very clear, like, if it comes down to that, it's going to be better for me, because I'm the type of dude that I'll do what Corey Holcomb said. I'll put some crack in your car. Like, I'll make sure
Put
something
some
happens
put
to
some
where I
crack in
get
your
access.
car.
Yeah, yeah, to get
so you
access to
you
get
can
full
get
custody.
the
Oh yeah, if that ever happens, I'm going for full custody. If we don't get married, I'm going for full custody. Like, I'm not gonna stop, because number one, I believe in my legacy, but number two, I'm not. This ain't gonna be you passively messing with me when your feelings get into it. There's gonna be a penalty, and a lot of black men are shamed into not really giving penalties to these women. That's why when you see dudes that do, they don't know how to take it, because there's no boundaries anymore. Like, there's no boundaries anymore when it comes to what black women can do. If you ask a black woman, I'll say this: if you ask most non-black women, give me something that if you did something to a man in your group, give me a couple of things that he would hit you for. I wouldn't say whether he has cause to hit you for, but that he's likely to hit you for. Most of these women could come up with some stuff. With black women, they'll straight up say, there's nothing that I can do to him that would be worthy of him hitting me. Not even if you hit his mama. Because I could come up with some crazy stuff that, like, dudes would short circuit. Even dudes that say they don't short circuit. Let's say you slap the shit out of his mama. You telling me he don't got a right to hit you? Well, it depends on what she said. See, that stuff like that. You would never hear other groups say that if I came up with similar circumstances. What about if you drop his baby more than once? Like, I've seen women attack men that were holding their daughters that were newborns. Don't believe me? Glendon Cameron has that story. Glendon Cameron's a 50-year-old dude that's a millionaire, black man. And he told that story. That so there is no laws when it comes to black men and black women that black women are deemed to respect. That there's no boundaries. That's really what that means, that black men set that black women won't try to walk over. And partially, and that's our fault. That's our fault, to be honest with you. You call all generations gotta fall on that sword for that, including millennials.
It's true. Well, I'm going to say something that I always say, and those of you who follow the Prophet of Thought series have heard this many, many times before. I tell brothers this all the time. Now, if you done went out here and you done, especially if you done got with some old baby mama, okay? And oftentimes what happens is the reason why we don't go after the kid is because of the very male guilt that you talk about, because we thinking to ourselves, oh, she's going to be the better parent and all this kind of nonsense. So I tell brothers right off the rip, even if the child that you have is her first child and yours, try to get the kid. Go hard to get the kid. And definitely get the kid if she's got 3 and 4 already by 3 and 4 other dudes, because you already know she's just old trap house hoe and she probably takes shitty care of them. So if you done messed around and stuck your penis in one of these old hoes, I will not hold that against you, because as men, we have a tendency to stick our penis in the wrong places at times. I'm a man, the wrong places at times. Yeah, we've done that. I will not hold that
I will hold
against
it
you.
against you is what I meant.
No, I won't. I will not hold that against you. But she pops up pregnant and you let her trap house ass raise that kid, that I will hold against you. You need to get that kid from that woman, especially if she's just some old ghetto hoe who don't take care of the kids she got. You're doing the child a disservice and yourself because you have let that male guilt make you believe that she is going to be a better parent than you. Let me tell you something. This is the type of faith that I have in the brothers, okay? This is how much faith I have in my brothers. It can be your first child. You can be inexperienced as hell, and it's your first kid, and it could be kid number 5 for her. You take that goddamn kid and you raise it, you will be a better parent, even though that's your first child and she has 5. That's how much confidence I have in my brothers and their
Well, yeah,
parenting
well, I think
skills.
there's a myth, the myth of like good black motherhood. I think exactly that, a myth. I think, there's good mothers and bad mothers, but we tend to act like everything that a woman does is justified because she's just a complete victim of her circumstance. And we all know
Yeah,
that's not true.
that's BS, man. Let's
But
be honest, man. Let's talk turkey here, brother Edward. Let's
mhm.
when we got a birth rate of illegitimate kids that hover between 70 and 80%. That means a lot of our mothers was hoes. Come on, man. Let's be real. A lot of
Oh
our
yeah,
mothers was just hoes. Okay, just
like I
hoes.
said,
And
you got
why
people
you think
selling
why
the
you think it's nine? Why you think it's 9 of us? And
yeah.
we don't got, and none of us have the same father. You trying to tell me that our mamas wasn't hoeing? She wasn't
Yeah.
hoeing, and it's 9 of us with 9 daddies? That's BS.
No,
That's
and
BS.
but here's the thing: the way a lot of people say it is that if the dudes didn't go after the women, that the women wouldn't have the ability. Oh, see, this is the idea. A lot of women try to sell that idea because what it does is it gives them. Again, this
And
is not about black men versus black women. This is about, as adults, you have a personal responsibility to your own outcomes. That's independent of a black man and a black woman, or what you feel, your daddy issues and stuff like that, your mama issues. At the end of the day, and what happens is a lot of people like to have these emotional outs. Remember, people make emotional buying decisions, and they justify it with logic. So a lot of times, a lot of what women say, and it's some stuff dudes say too, but a lot of times what women say sounds stupid is because they're trying to balance an equation based on an emotional decision they made in logic. We live in a society because it validates that, because it's easier to get your money out of a woman if you put her and keep her in that state. So you always want to keep her in that state because it's easier to put her in a state. So TV and stuff will always tell you what you want to hear and not what you need to know. Also, because a lot of women are not results driven on most stuff, not on a lot of things. Now, obviously, if you look at certain things like sex, if you look at certain things like money, yeah, they may be, but when it comes to like a lot of stuff, they're not results driven. They look for kind of just emotional center that doesn't make them get in their feelings. This is why every time black men tell them something, say something they don't want to hear, they just emotionally come at it as you're bashing me, because anything they say is bad must be bad because it makes me feel bad. Has nothing to do with if it's true or not. So you hear the things like, well, white women do it too. Well, I did this because I can't have a kid by myself. I mean, just stuff like that. This that makes it like, okay, so if you're saying that you can't control your womb, then what you're really saying is we shouldn't have Roe v. Wade. We really should get rid of that, because you demonstrated you can't exercise the proper responsibility that comes across with having that agency. So anyway, my point to all of that is really, the one thing I want to talk about is the kid thing, the thing about that we had to even kind of started this in the first place, because I really want to have a back and forth about that just to get that out. But at the end of the day, as women, you're accountable, and when you look at it and I say it this way: before I listen to a woman, I want to talk about the dudes that ain't checking for her or her situation. I want to see the dude she curved, and that tells all the story you really need to hear, to see.
that's true. That's true. So let's get into this. Let me ask you a little bit about you.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you to YouTube? What made you say, okay, I'm gonna get up here, I'm gonna get on YouTube, and I'm gonna start speaking my thoughts?
Yeah, my channel is more like a vlog. Or my path to YouTube was pretty quick. I mean, I used to listen to probably the first person I listened to was probably Charles Tyler, rest in peace, because I came to YouTube via travel. And I came to that via some of the network marketing world, because you got a lot of brothers in the network marketing world. Actually, a world that a lot of these dudes don't even really know about. A lot of brothers doing really good things. And then traveling was one of the things that was done. And then I found Charles Tyler through that. And that's when I got really introduced to the manosphere via Blog Talk Radio. And then from there, I found other people like Jason Black, eventually Butch Watkins, Soul and Black. Soul and Black was probably my biggest introduction into the manosphere proper, because Charles Tyler was on kind of what I call intercultural dating, the black man's option. Rest in peace. And then Soul and Black kind of got me to Sergeant Willie Pete, and which that pretty much, the rest is history. And then that's kind of like stage one and stage two would be me finding BGS, and then finding the greater manosphere proper after that. Most people know me, they know me from BGS. One day I was like 100 miles away from where I live, and I was on my computer and I saw this hangout that was going on for a while, and then that's how I got in proper. As far as doing my own videos, I can suck up a lot of oxygen. I know that it is what it is. On BGS Hangouts, I decided to create my own. I don't know how, but 100 videos already around there. And it's coming along. I haven't really put the kind of energy into it I should, but at that point, it's a way to dump off my thoughts, to have a public record, so to speak. And that's pretty much how I found YouTube. I will say this though: the thing that I think I try to contribute to YouTube that I don't see as much is I try to really, again, I like to focus on behavior, because at the end of the day, what we have to understand is why people do what they do, because there is a reason. Usually there is something that's kind of motivating people to do what they do, and understanding that in the context of how black men can be better for themselves, how black women can, and when I say be better, I mean get the outcomes they want. A lot of times people are too busy trying to say women ain't doing this, or men ain't doing this, to try to justify why they don't have that they want to have, because they don't want to put in the work. So for example, for dudes, dudes do talk about women a lot. Now, granted, that needs to be said because we need to start telling our side of the story. And that's the mistake that didn't happen in the 90s and stuff like that. Or I'll say this: we have the internet, and the last generations didn't. So it was a lot harder for them to tell their side of the story. And I will admit that. But at the same time, dudes need to understand that the rules that are written are the rules that we write. And what happens is we too many times play the rules by a woman's playbook. And that's where the black male guilt comes from. For example, a lot of times you got dudes pocket watching other dudes talk about you shouldn't trip. I'm not somebody, I will say this: I have no problems going overseas and having a good time, and laying the groundwork for like relationships that I might have or might not have. And in the meantime, doing a pay-as-you-go program with other women. I've done it, but I've been in the Philippines. I've been in a couple of different places. But at the same time, I've got relationships when I say relationships, I'm not talking about this. Well, yeah, women, but I've gotten business relationships, in different areas that I've created, that's been very valuable. I know women that dudes have tricked off of that found a white dude, and they're in America now, like with a kid, So anyway, my point is dudes need to start living life by their rules and stop living life by the rules that were given to them because of this guilt bullshit. Because all of that is manipulation. And we have a problem where a lot of dudes is trying to sell that to other dudes because of their own individual motivations for doing that. Same thing with women. Women got to understand, I'm talking black women in particular, that this game, the stuff that the last generation got away with, you're not going to get away with. It's musical chairs. And the reality is, you know what? Fuck black men for a second. You got these white women that's about to start coming after intersectionality. You've got Latin women that's going to start grouping up with white women because they got the numbers to do so. They about to activate some colorism on your ass that you don't even know, because they just going to tell the men to just shut up and start isolating dark-skinned women. That's coming. And you've got women that basically want an insurance policy to take the best black men as far as producers from you. Not necessarily that those black men will be their first choice. They'll make them feel like they're their first choice. But in case they can't get a white man or Latin man that they want, they can say, I can fall back because I still got money. And these women are ruthless. These women don't care. They don't care about any type of stuff that you guilt black men with. And what's happened is you've set black men up to be very, very vulnerable to feminine gestures because we don't get it in the black community. So whenever people are asking, because this stuff I talk about on my channel, whenever people are asking why does black men date white women, number one, it's a myth that it happens as much as women like to say it happens. But at the same time, to the extent that it does, men go from the womb to the tomb never really experiencing true femininity in their home from their mothers or or a lot of black women. And then those same dudes get that from other races. That's very hard to deny. It's like a woman. Now it's the same. It's kind of the same reason a white woman deals with a black man. If a white woman ain't getting, fucked right, and a black man comes along, she may not fall in love with that black man, but she's gonna see value in that dude. It's kind of the opposite end of that. But anyway, that's some of that. I pretty much talk about trying to create outcomes. I just say my channel is about anything. It's about creating better outcomes.
Well, do you believe that that's part of the guilt? Do you think that more, because statistically, black men, last time I checked, black men date out more than any other group. On a whole, in the aggregate, black men date, out more than anyone else. But it's only about like, what, 12, 15%, something like that. Do you think that black men don't find themselves with other groups of women because of guilt? Is that
Oh,
guilt
absolutely.
piece?
Absolutely. Because what else really is there? Like, really think about, like, really, and this may sound bad, but ask yourself outside of you caring about a legacy, staying within, blackness. Because here's the thing, at this point, we got to start looking at African American women versus women of other cultures, even that are black. Outside of, it ain't the cult. Black men don't stay with black women because of the culture. They damn sure don't. I'm not saying black people don't have culture, but our culture is not represented for the most part. And I can show you beautiful examples of African American women culture. But as a group, that is, the prime way you need to choose a woman to have kids with. And I think any woman you have sex with, you need to at least have a thought run through you. Would I like this chick to be the mom of my kids? At least the thought needs to run through you very quickly, but still run through you. It ain't the culture. It really isn't. So, I mean, really, why would you be there? It's this idea that you're betraying your mother, and you wouldn't even have that to the extent that you do if it wasn't for these dudes being extraordinary mama's boys. Because a lot of the dudes that do date out are not mama's boys. And another thing too, they amplify that number in these statistics. Most of these statistics that they cite are research statistics, Pew Research studies, where that's been debunked and they lie. The reality of the situation is black men marry black women 86% of the time. The bigger problem that black women have is black men don't get married. We marry at 33% versus 33%. But yet more black men are married than black women. But this idea that all black men are dating out, see, think of that word dating out. Dating out does not necessarily mean you're having kids. It's that sexual access piece. It's literally dick policing. If black men let's say black men do date out the most, which is not true, by the way. But let's say they do. At the end of the day, if they're marrying 86%, black women shouldn't have nothing to talk about. Because the problem is, if you get married, 80, the percentage is 86% that a black man is going to choose you. And that's understanding where black women are today, which is 80% overweight, 52% obese, the attitude that is real, the STDs that are out there, the reputation. I mean, with all of that, it's still 86% and 33%. So again, these things are out here because you got dudes they don't want to be quote unquote that guy when that guy is not real. I would go and tell you a lot more black women are fucking white men than what is said. They may only be marrying them at 5%, but white men have been fucking black women since slavery. A lot of sisters be acting like they ain't never tasted. The problem is white men of consequence, or like I call them the Chris Evans types, are not really checking for sisters like that unless you like a 10, 9, or 8. Now, Chris Evans dates mostly black women. He pretty much dates almost exclusively black women. That's on the hush hush. But it's not enough of those dudes out there. But they'll go with Aaron Hernandez. They wind up with a lot of these dudes that are racist, interestingly
Yeah.
enough, or dudes that kill black men. I don't know what's going on with that. But the point is, it's all about putting black men on the defensive so black men don't ever have a chance to really think. That's why they see the manosphere as such a threat. Because the manosphere are men aggregating and comparing notes, independent of women. We let them in when we want to, and when we want to kick them out, we can. Women do the same thing, but women, all they're doing is they're just creating echo chambers. They're not learning. They're not like the typical females. You got some of them out there like Paris Milan and Allie Emmett and Kimberly. I can name a lot of women that are saying some really good stuff for women. But for the most part, these women are gravitating a lot of them towards echo chamber women that are basically yelling their daddy issues out on YouTube. They're having therapy on YouTube. And because emotionally they resonate with that because of their own issues, that's what they're hearing. It is what it is.
I agree. I totally agree. But I mean, the whole well, that's a guilting tactic too when they say, all of y'all are chasing white women, all of y'all want white women, because that's just BS. To be honest with you, I mean, like
Yeah,
you
they're
said,
obsessed with Michael B. Jordan right now. He's the new dude.
yes, and
Fuck the fact, yeah, that Tessa Thompson's, is LGBT, and Ryan Coogler and Michael B. basically put her on for real with Creed. It's that he's been showcased with white women. He's not even officially dating a white chick. Just the fact he has pictures with them. That's the obsession.
course, like you said, you're talking like 85, 86% of black men who do get married, they marry black women. So how can you come up with this statistic that, all of us are chasing white girls? The statistics don't bear that out. They just don't, the numbers don't bear it out. I think many black women are obsessed with white women. And I'll tell you why. Because, see, they feel like deep in their psyches that they are competing with white women. But see, they know they're in competition with white women, but they know that they're losing this competition, or at least they feel like they're losing it. They're the one, they think black men are the ones who are obsessed with white women.
Yeah,
And black men
they're
aren't.
projecting. Exactly. They're
Yeah, they
projecting.
are. They are
And
obsessed with these white women because they think that these white women are better than them. It's not necessarily us who thinks that. It's them who
well,
think that.
what it is these women are what it is with women is this. Women crave validation, and men and women crave validation different. Women want societal validation to us. They want individual validation, but as a group, they sync up and they want societal validation. And this is where the colorism comes into play versus dudes want sexual validation. So if men are being sexually validated in the society, aka, then that overall validation crap, they can have it versus women need the opposite. This is why women, you got to hug them after you have sex with them and stuff like that. They need that at the societal level. And the problem is this country was not built to validate black women. It was built to be a white ethno state. And black women are suffering for that because emotionally they don't see them at the top. So what happens is really what they're doing is they know to be at the top, they need white men's affection. This is why black women act a certain way they act when they're around white dudes, even white dudes that are not of consequence naturally, because that's just what it, because they see them. This is why you'll hear black women talk if you let them talk, like talk about the black men, white men are at the top of the beauty standard. That's looking at a white man like a man would look at a woman. Like not like men, like most women don't think of men as a beauty standard. They think of men about producing and power. and that's what they're attracted to. But our women are looking at a man like a man would look at a woman from a matriarchal lens, also because they want that beauty standard. Now, a lot of them can't access that. A lot more women lust for white men than what we'll say, but that's what it is. And even if they don't like white men, they still want that status. That's why BGS was correct when he said the myth of white womanhood has nothing to do with wanting to be a white woman. You want white status. And that's why you do things like hair, bleach your skin, to the extent that like the diaspora does that. That's more of a diaspora thing. Or that's why you see a lot of celebrities do it when they're in those environments that black people are not like controlling in kind of way. And this is also why they're angry. They have contempt for the black man, because the black man, they blame fundamentally the black man for their situation. That's really what it could, because it's easier to blame us than to blame themselves. And the society tells them to blame us as well. Even if you could say we're the blame, here's the reality. The reality is, at the end of the day, and I tell women this, they start to get into colorism when I want to shut the argument down. I said, what you're looking for is you're looking for a white man's affection. You're looking for white men at the society level to validate you. You need to start talking to them, because black men will never and can never give you that in the United States of America. We will never be able to make it so the black woman is at the top of the white woman in this country. That is not going to happen. And it ain't even no point trying that, because black women are really, even though black women are not showcased in the best way, black women still have more market penetration than other races of women, as a group when it comes to like TV and media. That's what Gina Rodriguez was trying to say. She said, I see a lot of black women getting a lot of fucking roles. Now, granted, they get those roles because a lot of black women as a market support those shows. But she was saying, and this is a part of the game that a lot of sisters need to pay attention to while they worry about us, is these women are going to start saying, we're going to create a paper bag test. So I want to be by these white men, not know how the fuck Viola Davis is with a white dude when I'm Latin and we got the audience. This is the type of stuff they're doing now. And there's nothing, and black women really don't have no answer for that, because the only answer for that is to go to your men. And they have spent so much, and you're not going to shame men into it. Because the reality of the situation is, from a sexual level, a lot of these black women are going to offer something black women refuse to offer, which is femininity. And they refuse to offer that because they haven't gotten over that deep-seated contempt that they pass down to their daughters and their daughters and their daughters through things like Color Purple in the home and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, man, that's just where it is, man. That's just where it is.
Well, when you talk about, the competition, I think that a lot of not just black women, black people in a whole, just love white folks. And if they don't love white folks, they love the white folks standard that you speak of. A lot of women love that standard. And it's a standard that they're never going to get, because you can't out white girl a white girl. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So what we have seen more often than not is that they have taken on the accoutrements. They put the accoutrements on, the blonde hair, the blue contacts, the lightening of the skin, the implants, the rhinoplasty, all that kind of nonsense. They take on all that stuff, which is traditionally what? White, right? Now, like you said, they may not necessarily want to be a white girl per se in a literal sense, but like you said, they are seeking the white standard of acceptance, the white standard of treatment, the white standard of selection of men.
Meanwhile, while white women are basically taking the best things that they would see as what black women could compete with against them and basically applying it to them while they're doing that. So it's not so much, it's that, and then it's also the fact that you're having a subtraction by addition, meaning the more you try to add looking like them, the less you're trying to compete on your own terms. So for example, one of the best examples that I would give to any woman that wants to talk about colorism, whether you agree with it or not, say, look at Amela Negra. Amela Negra is a dark-skinned woman that showcases dark-skinned femininity in a way that you see that will move the needle. And there's a lot more women that could do that. Now, sometimes she falls in doing some pseudo kind of ratchet shit, but for the most part, she doesn't do that. For the most part, she does actual femininity. And she is African American. She's just first generation. Her parents from Dominican Republic. So, and they deal with a hell of a lot of colorism in the DR. So the thing is, though, again, the difference is because she was raised in a Latin culture, they don't have that same kind of contempt. This is how you know it's a culture and it's not a race thing. African Americans deal with some unique stuff that other men are not dealing with, even in the diaspora. African American men are dealing with some shit that African men or island men are not dealing with. And people could say whether it's your fault or not your fault. The reality is I don't have kids. I haven't done this stuff. So I'm not about to sit here and pay a life debt to every Black woman because of whatever thing her mom told her, because her mom wanted to choose a nigga that won't shit because she wanted to be a better girlfriend than be a better mom. That's why what you said jumped out. Because remember, we had that conversation, we were kind of going back and forth. It wasn't really back and forth about the
You're
kid
fading
thing.
in and out, brother Edward. You're
Oh, I
fading in and
am.
out.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my internet today, but yeah, that's basically what I had to say on that issue.
Yeah, well, I don't want to feel guilty about anything. They definitely shouldn't feel guilty about mistakes made. See, this is what I think. This is what I'm afraid that happens often, man. When you're talking about brothers dealing with women, I think often what happens is these women have had shitty childhoods, and maybe their old daddy wasn't around, you know, and so they feel a particular way. So they have transferred that onto the
Yeah,
brothers that they deal with. You know what I'm saying? They've
that's
transferred that.
exactly what happens.
Yeah, they've transferred that onto the brothers that they deal with, and that's when the guilt piece comes in. They wanna guilt the brother because they've got something going on inside of them because their old daddy wasn't around and their mama probably wasn't shit. So they carrying that shit with them. So as they grow and get out there and start dating and doing all this kind of stuff and having 9 babies, whatever the hell they're doing out there, when they do deal with brothers, I think they come right at them. They come right at them with the whole guilt and you just want a white girl and all this so kind of nonsense. They come right at them with that. Because see, they have weaponized this guilt. This guilt has become weaponized, right? And a lot of times you can't pick. I think brothers are picking up on it now, but when we were younger, guys my age, when we were younger, we couldn't pick up on that guilt because see we had grew in a time where it was like actually acceptable to be with a baby mama. It was acceptable to be with a woman that had 5 and 6 kids. People said, "Oh, you he's a real man because see he got with this woman. She got 6 kids. He raised them like it." That was your standard of manhood back then. Now, fast forward to 2018, you hook up with some chick that got 7 kids, you're a goddamn simp.
Yeah, and shout out to Eric, shout out to Erica who's in the chat. Erica has said, it says something about you if you sleep with crazy women, and I co-sign that. I say this all the time. If you tell me that crazy pussy is good pussy, at that point, I don't want to hear nothing you fucking got to say that happens after that when it comes to a woman. You signed up for that. If you knowingly sleep, but see, dudes will do that. Like if you're in a barber shop and you complain about a woman and somebody you say, "Ain't this woman like an ex stripper?" Then dudes are automatically about to shut that down. See, we don't circle the wagon around that. We like, dude, you knew what you were signing up for when you walked into that. And like now you got, T-Pain a couple years back, like 5 years back, talking about I'm in love with a stripper and stuff like that. You knew what you were doing when you was doing that. And at the end of the day, but dudes are not conditioned to when they know they mess around. Like dudes are typically not going to completely talk about their woman if he knows he knew what he was getting into. It's it's different if you get married and then it's divorce and stuff like that. But absolutely, But in the society, and this is not just black society, by the way, this is American society as a whole to a certain extent, is women are coddled in making their mistakes because it's seen as nothing, it's their fault. And what's happened now, it's giving them a sort of extra citizenship. You're starting to see this even with Me Too. And now, you're about to have a backlash to Me Too because even other white women are like, because white women give a fuck about their sons, like outside of just it's their sons, because they know their sons gonna be the ones that's gonna be thinking about them when they get older, like as far as in the government and in power. So they have other reasons to really care about their sons outside of the biological imperative. So they're like, okay, y'all going a little bit too hard with this, to the point where Betsy DeVos had to give rules to the right accused. He said, y'all know we may be selling that crap to these niggas when it comes to Bill Cosby, but y'all know what y'all be on when y'all in these schools and stuff. Don't act like all these dudes are just coming at you out of the woodwork and doing that. Even that woman that tried to go after Kavanaugh, she got pictures. And it just showcases that these women try to act like they're saints when they're really not. But at the end of the day, man, it's too much information out here, and dudes, it's a lot of things. It's the government stuff is getting cut. It's information out here. It's easily accessible. Dudes are interested in it, even if they want to vent, and they're coming up with people that are making sense. And the reality is, the every year that goes by, dudes remember, only 5% of black men got passports. More black women got passports than black men. God forbid black men start getting passports and start doing what they did when the big three car companies were making shitty cars. What happened? Toyota became the number one car dealer. Honda became what Honda was. And then the big three, within like 15 years, was out there begging for a bailout. That's the same thing. I believe in important. And let me be clear here. I have I see great African American women all the time. Like, I'm lucky to be in the triangle. There's crazy women, but I know where to go when I need to find a woman that's got some damn sense. That's another thing that I would say to these dudes too. I need to know where y'all going. Now, there's certain cities where I get it. Like Philly, women just on average are special in Philly, man. So, but there's certain cities that it's like you might be attracted to a certain type of chick and you ain't really trying to say so. Because a lot of times you'll ask these dudes, like, why don't you just go interracial? And then they'll say, I don't want to, which I understand that. The black woman body type is very good. But at the same time, I look at it as sexual supply and demand. If I don't like one grocery store, I'll go to another one. They just closed Kroger's out here. They're bringing in Publix and this big grocery store. We have I know this is going to sound like straight up off topic. We have 17 different grocery stores where I live in the triangle. 17. If one's fucking up, I'm going to another one. Find my own store.
Yeah, I tell brothers all the time that, you deserve better, man. You deserve you deserve a better life. You deserve a
Tell me
better
about
use.
it.
Yeah, you deserve a
These
better
dudes
use of
don't know
your.
what the hell they
Yeah.
deserve, man. You ask,
But
man.
they do, though. They do. They deserve better, man. They deserve a better life. They deserve a better use of their resources. They deserve a better quality of woman, man. I don't think brothers should have to settle for some woman that weighs 350 pounds and got 4 kids and shit. I don't think brothers should have to settle for that, man. They shouldn't have to settle for that nonsense, because if you're being convinced that you have to settle for that, that is guilt. You're being guilted to be with this freaking 350-pound woman who got 4 kids by 4 dudes. It's nothing but, see, what I think it has a lot to do with is standards. I think
Yeah,
we've
and black
been
men don't have
guilted
those.
to
A
the
lot of black
point.
men don't have standards.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that's due speak of. I think that we have been guilted into thinking that we are not worthy of better. We're worthy of the 350-pound chicks with 4 baby daddies. That's what we've been taught. We've been taught to think that that's what we deserve. We deserve her. We don't deserve anything better than that. We deserve her. She got 4 baby daddies. She's mouthy. She's belligerent. She weighs 350 pounds. That's your girl. Yeah, that's your girl. So that's what you've been taught to think, especially if that's what you come from. If your mama used to be that 350-pound chick with 6 babies, why would you not think that that's your destiny too? another 300-pound chick with 4 babies. How could that not be inconceivable to you? Because that's where you came from. You came from that. And I think what often happens is we grow up in these environments. So when we go out and start to live our lives as adults, even as adult men, we try to freaking recreate that damn BS environment that we were bred in, because we were bred in this crap. So we go out and we try to recreate it when we become adults because we're guilty. We feel guilty. We feel like this is what it's supposed to be. I think a lot of brothers have been feeling guilty about wanting more, wanting to do better, wanting to freaking leave the hood, wanting to not have 10 babies by the time he's 30. Because you get on these sites, man, because I get on a lot of people's sites and I be on a lot of panels in the run of a weekend. And man, I've been on streams where people are actually saying, go ahead, have as many kids as you want. It don't matter. Who cares if you can't take care of them? I mean, I've literally heard that. I've literally heard people say, have as many kids as you want. It doesn't matter if you can't take care of them,
Yeah,
which to
blog
me,
talk. Yeah,
which
blog
is
crazy shit on blog
stupid.
talk.
That's stupid. How you going to tell people have as many kids as you want? You can't take care of them, but so what? What sense does that make? But this is what we have. This is how many of us grow up. This is a lot of us was raised by baby mamas. It's 9 of us, and none of us have the same father. So how can it be inconceivable for you to go out and find another woman who got 4 baby daddies? I mean, this is what we have. Oftentimes in Black society, we have that wash, rinse, repeat thing going on. And we try to recreate, man, these same lives, man, that we freaking came from. Because a lot of us, we just don't know any better. Because our standards, we haven't been taught standards. Or we've been guilted out of having standards. Because you can be guilted out of having standards. You can be guilted right out of that. Oh, you shouldn't be like that. Your own mama will tell you to be with some damn woman that got 3 and 4 and 5 kids. And she will tell you, oh, go ahead. You like that woman. Go ahead and be with her because she needs somebody to help her take care of that kid. Your mama will tell you that. Your mama will tell you that nonsense. Now, your old man won't now.
Now, granted, I ain't gonna lie, my mom would say the hell with that. Like yeah, my mom wouldn't play. Like, luckily, yeah, I could see that, but I gotta be straight up. My mom wouldn't tolerate that.
But you have seen it. You
No,
have
yeah,
seen
I've
it,
seen it.
and you will see it. Because see, one thing about, not to get too off tracks, but me, teach. I'm very biased against these old mamas, okay? Because I think they have a tendency to not just fuck their daughters up, but they fuck their sons up as well because of the bullshit that they tell them, okay? If a dude has a chick, right? If he has one chick, right, that he deals with, she has no children, and he has another chick over here that he deals with that has, say, 3 or 4 children. If he go to his mama, especially if she's old baby mama, right? If he goes to his mama and he say, look, mom, I got this one girl, she ain't got no kids, but I'm torn. I got this other girl, she got 4 kids. You think his mama would tell him, hey, look, you're a young man, you got a lot ahead of you. You don't need to be messing around, with this girl with 4 kids. You think their mothers aren't telling them that? What their mothers are telling them is this. Their mothers are telling them, well, follow your heart. In other words, keep the baby mama of 4 kids into consideration. And I'll tell you why that's bad advice. It's bad advice because what you're basically telling your son to do is not only keep this girl into consideration, but what you're really saying is you should give her a chance. You shouldn't think less of her because she has 6 kids. That's what your mother is saying. Because see, if she's an old baby mama too, she's not going to tell you to go with the girl with 0 kids, because see, what she does when she says that to you, she's confirming the fact that she was a fucking baby mama failure, and she don't want you to be with somebody that's better than her, or should I say better than how she was when she was that chick's age. She's not going to do that. So she's going to tell you, follow your heart, i.e., keep the fucking baby mama of 6 babies in consideration. But your old man will say, hell no. Leave that baby, leave that baby mama alone. You want to be with a woman, you be with the one with 0 kids. You don't be with the baby mama. You don't do it. But your mother won't tell you that, especially if she's a baby mama herself. Because, see, if you find a woman who's young, has ambition, has drive, desires, goals, dreams, and you're with her, and you come from an old baby mama who had 9 of y'all and 9 daddies that you don't know, you getting with her does what? It confirms her fucking failure. So why would she want you to do that? She's not going to tell you that. She wants you to get an old baby mama like her. That's what she wants you to do. And I think that has a lot to do. That's why a lot of young brothers carry guilt. That guilt is carried on from their old mama, especially if their daddy ain't around, because their daddy's not around. So she's always telling them what? Look at you, looking like your black ass daddy. Look at you, sounding like your black ass daddy. You just like your daddy. You ain't shit, just like your dad. This is the shit that they're telling these young men. Believe it or not, it's happening more than people think it is. This is what they're being taught. So that shit is being compounded to their brains throughout the whole time they grow up to be an adult, and they go out into the world with that shit in their head. That's why they end up with these old baby mamas and doing all this old kind of bullshit, because they've been guilted all their young life from their own fucking mother. So now they get out in the world. It's easy for some chick to guilt them, man. It's easy. They've been conditioned to be guilted. Don't you think?
No, absolutely, man. I mean, it happens on autopilot, and there's a lot of things that don't get talked about, to get swept under the rug. This always goes back to what I said a while ago when I said we think we're the most realist when we're the most unrealist, because we won't face these things. And when you bring them up, because I'll bring up these topics, or I'll show you where people are that are talking about them. People emotionally shut down. You see it. They emotionally shut down, or they go into hyper deflection mode. So at the end of the day, because one of the things I've been trying to really do is find what is it, some stuff that I'm offering that nobody else is offering. There's a couple of things I think I am, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of dudes that are very good at calling out the fuckery of what black women do. The Obsidian does, Jab does, certain people that do it, not as hardcore as they do, but in there. The thing that I really want to focus on doing is, particularly with black men, is giving black men options. Highlighting people that's helping black men get jobs, like for instance, Sub-Zero 3639, what he did with his IT stuff, people that's doing expedited freight, dudes getting in trucking, giving dudes options to increase their own individual power to influence. And not only do that, but how to link up with brothers, give to brothers, but give to get, because all these relationships, there is a give and take with relationships, and not just with young brothers, but older brothers. Because the big problem is too, is younger brothers don't know how to really assess older brothers. Like, they don't know when somebody's giving you bullshit and when somebody's giving you game. And a lot of times people are giving you game. They may not even know they're giving you game. You just have to be in a situation where you understand what's going on. Somebody doesn't have to say, look, I'm giving you game. You just have to know how to absorb stuff and not look at another black man like your mama did. That's what a lot of that shit. When you hear a lot of millennials talking shit about Gen Xers and baby boomers, a lot of that shit be the programming and repetition they're saying about their own moms. Like, not they say about their own moms, but they're hearing it. They got that from their moms and stuff. And they're learning some of this information where they get it from the conservative side or liberal side or pro-black side or whatever side. And then it's like, they're saying these dudes didn't do shit for me because my dad didn't do shit for me. And it's like they repeat the cycle because they don't understand that. So going into 2019, I'm excited about a lot of stuff. I'm gonna have to get out of here in a little bit. I'm excited about a lot of stuff that's going on. I'm excited about a lot of stuff that the manosphere is starting to do. Because really, I think we have one of the best audiences. I think we have a really good network of YouTubers. I just think what we really need is some money to come in. And you know what? I'm not even talking about motherfuckers donating. I do think you should donate because I think this information needs to be pushed out. But at the end of the day, the way it's going to come out is it's going to be a couple of people that through maybe affiliate marketing, some other business model, they get good at aggregating this audience. And then the YouTubers that are like making content, not even just big YouTubers. I'm talking about because there's YouTubers that are not big, but that are very impactful because they are coming at it with the real. And we just got to get good at organizing as a group. That's one of the biggest things that Black men don't do well is we don't know how to establish ourselves as a market, as a force to kind of be reckoned with. And that's not necessarily with money, just based on who we support. And a perfect example of that is when you got a woman that, let's say you got a woman that's really just talking cash shit about Black men, and that's their whole staple. If you know that there's certain Black men that support them, like on some, I don't know why, and you say, okay, let's say they support this woman because of their looks, even though you don't think they look good. Well, then you find another woman that's not talking as much crap that looks better. And then you say, okay, here's the option, and you drain it. Use competition in order to eliminate some of the things that you think that are at least desired or is not helpful. That's the stuff we need to get good at. That's why when we tell y'all need to like the videos, come on. If you can't like the videos, man, I mean, come on, man. I mean,
Yeah, that's so simple. It's like that's nothing. It's not even like you giving a dollar, and we have these conversations all the time, because you talk about, we need some money, some financial streams coming in. Man, you can't get no money from most of these people. You can't even get them to hit the damn like button. That doesn't cost them shit. They won't even do that. So
no, and these will be the same dudes that did a lot of times. These be the same dudes that if a woman crying about something, that's their programming. They'll do that, and I'm dead serious. Like, and the sad thing is, you got a lot of times these women when they try to infiltrate these spaces. I'm not even talking about YouTubers a lot, and I'm not talking about all women. I'm just saying they'll put up their money before dudes put it up, and then dudes be out here wondering why the women get catered to more because the women understand that there's a tax for what you want. They understand it more than Black men do. Black women understand a little bit more than Black. Now, I think a lot of that it drives that is emotionality. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to pay for what you want. And I'm not, one dude would tell me, oh, how do you know what to donate? I'm like, you got to be really thinking about this stuff. Like, first of all, do you buy Black? How about that? How much of your income do you even look for brothers to spend money with that have things you might want? Like I have a tailor that I need to deal with. I got, most Black men got, let's start with what most Black men have. So I'm not talking shit. Most Black men have barbers. And I say that the women need to catch up on that and start dealing more with Black women when it comes to doing their hair, or at least buying the hair if they're gonna buy it. I don't agree with that, but if you're gonna buy it from a Black woman. But my point is, most Black men, they start with barbers. Okay, what else do you do? What else do you give? What are things that are convenient? Because I'm not saying for you to go all around the world crazy. Like I said, I come from, and that's how I usually don't talk about that. But when you look at like things like the network marketing world, I personally think that's a very good way for people to spend money with other people. Because even if you don't believe in that business model, there are things that you can buy from people that people do sell. And if it's already in line with what you already buy, then that's a way to make it so more of your income is going to other Black people. See, nobody never thinks about that, including people like Boyce Watkins, by the way. So that's not even on just regular Black folks. But we need to get used to understanding that our money is energy and stop thinking about it something that just comes and goes until you get the next check, because it's not like that. A lot of like if you own something, like even like, because when people try to talk shit saying, oh, you a YouTuber, you need to get a real job, what you're doing is media. Like, it ain't nothing for you to have a website or for you to like I would ask you this: what's the real difference between what you're doing and what like one of these dudes that these Black people that say what the white people tell them on mainstream media say? Look at Roland Martin right now. Look at where Roland Martin is. I'm not even going to talk shit about him. I'm just saying, look at where he was and look at where he is. What's the real difference? The only real difference is he was given a platform he was given a platform. He didn't build it. He was given a platform and said, and then as a result, he said what he wanted to say. Versus now, he's doing the same thing on YouTube. So when people say YouTube ain't no real job or stuff like that, these are the same people that will tell you get a degree because they don't understand business. Having a media company matters. And Amazon was started, a lot of business was started in houses. Amazon, Apple, and look at where they are now. Not saying that's going to be, people YouTube channels. You get what I'm saying. I mean, do you, like, I'll say this and then I'll shut up. Do y'all understand, where these, not apps, but where these TV streams, everybody talks about it's going to be this pivot, that, internet is going to be bigger than TV, right? Do you understand, like, how many TV apps there are now? Like, not even just Netflix. There's actually apps that you can stream. And I'm not even talking about illegal apps. I'm talking about apps. There is an app that I'm going to try out that you can get 8,000 channels on it. And when I say 8,000 channels, I'm talking about you can tap channels globally, but I'm also talking about one of the things that impressed me about this, and this is not me plugging anything because I don't have anything. I'm about to tell you the name. I'm just saying. And I don't have anything. There's no link on my channel or anything. This channel, what impressed me about this was you can get all of the local news of every city. And this is an app you can get on your phone. And you have CBS now, not with this, but now you have CBS, who has that show, that Star Trek show with the black woman. You have, which I like. People say it's shitty, but I actually like it. And that black woman is with a brother, and her husband is in a lot of her pictures. So she's one of us. You've got the Warner DC is now have their own streaming channel, and AT&T just brought up Time Warner. Like everybody, Disney just bought out Fox, and they're gonna come out with their Disney channel. Disney now owns Hulu, so everybody's trying to get that Netflix money. And by the way, that Star Trek show, they spent $80 million on that Star Trek show. That's almost as much money they spent on Game of Thrones. So now NBA. NBA now is like on demand and stuff. This stuff is transitioning. And what I'm saying is when people want to talk shit and say you just on YouTube, just like people saying back when Netflix was going up against Redbox. This was back when you could buy a Redbox and put it over there in CBS because Redbox was ramping up and Netflix was still doing stuff through the mail before it became streaming. See, as black people, we got to see this stuff. People, and I'm not saying sometimes we do. Black Planet was a precursor of Facebook. And a lot of Facebook technology came from the brother that built Black Planet. It's just those white folks have money behind them. So we got to stop saying the same dumb shit that we say as far as getting a degree, getting a good job, and all of that, because we got to start taking better inventory. And I think we'd be surprised at what we find if we actually start looking to ourselves. And I'm talking about black men and black women, because I'm gonna keep it real with you. My shit is, it sounds like I talk about black women. If a black woman is ready over a black man, I'm always gonna keep in mind to put black men on. But I'm gonna go with who's ready. And at that point, I'm gonna look at that as that's a black person versus man or woman. So if dudes ain't ready, I'm gonna get this money. And if black people ain't ready, I'm gonna get this money.
That's good. That's a good place to end. Brother Edward, I appreciate you coming on, man, and doing your thing, man. I knew you would fill up like 2 hours. I appreciate that, brother. I'll say this to close out. Black men, it's been a long time coming, and I think that now we are ready to, move. We can move as a collective and make a lot of things happen. We can make big things happen. I don't mean little stuff, because this little stuff that we do on YouTube is little stuff. We can make this big. Okay, we can do a lot of big things. A lot of brothers are talking about it. So now it's time to do it. We got to quit letting people tell us that we cannot do it. And we have to stop listening to the peanut galleries telling us how we ain't shit, we ain't building, we ain't doing this. We need to disregard all that nonsense. Because see, those aren't people that we can count on to assist us anyway. So we should not even entertain what they're talking about. But we can move forward. We do understand our value. And what I think a lot of us have done and are doing now and going to be doing more of is dropping the black male guilt that a lot of us have had over the course of who knows how many years. But anyway, once again, I want to thank everybody from coming out. I want to thank my chat, all the brothers in the chat. Keep the comments coming, talking shit up there. My moderators always up there doing what they got to do. Also, what I need y'all to do, I need y'all to get on down there to the Prophet of Thought series on Facebook. That's Prophet of Thought, one word, series, one word on Facebook. That's the main page. It's a community page. Get on down there, like the page, share the page, follow the page, tell your friends about the page. You can always catch some good stuff down there, and you can catch up with me down there. You can actually leave me a message, and I always get back to you within a day or so. And also, get on down there to the T.P.O.T bandwagon page on Facebook as well. That's right, the T.P.O.T bandwagon page. Get on the T.P.O.T bandwagon. That's actually a personal page. You can send that page a friend request, and I will make sure that that request gets confirmed quickly. And while you're doing that, slide on over to the Prophet of Thought Series fan group page on Facebook as well. That's the Prophet of Thought Series fan group page. It's about 2,800 members in there now. I'm trying to get it up to 3,000. I've been trying to get it to 3,000 for like 2 months now, and I'm not getting there, but I'm creeping up there slowly. Yeah, get on down there. Go ahead, request to be a member. You'll get accepted quick. I know a couple of you have been writing me, telling me that you can't get in the group. Don't worry about it. You're going to get in there. It's not a big deal. Don't be mad. Don't get mad. You will get in the group. But get on down there to the Prophet of Thought Series fan group page. Request to be a member. There's always some good shit down there. You can get down there. You can post. Other people post shit. Like I always say, you ain't just got to listen to old X talk shit all the time. There's other people down there talking shit as well. Also, follow us on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's right. Prophet of Thought on Instagram. Go ahead, follow us on Instagram. You're guaranteed to get a follow back. And also, here we go again. Get your black behinds down there at the old Twitter page. The Twitter handle is at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. That's at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, or I will haunt your ass into next summer in your dreams. Once again, I'd like to thank my man Hurricane Edward for coming through, giving us a good old stream tonight, dropping some knowledge. If you missed out on it, you came to the stream late, you better go ahead and freaking rewind it and listen to it, because a lot of nuggets got dropped by Brother Edward tonight. Tomorrow, make sure you have your black behinds here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, because tomorrow we are going to be talking about the Republican Negro. My special guest will be Obsidian from Obsidian Talk Radio will be in the house. Also, the writer and author Corey Haywood will be in the house. You know, the man y'all love to hate. He'll be in the house tomorrow as well. And also a few of the usual suspects. Y'all know I kind of throw them in there so anybody could show up. You might see Info Man. You might see Kevin Samuels. You might see Black Ram. You might see BMT. You know, the usual suspects kind of come and go. Brother Gab Talk AM1. I don't know what I'm going to throw together tomorrow. So make sure you have your black behinds here tomorrow to see what we got going on. And once again, I want to thank y'all for coming through tonight and watching us and spending some time with us. So, with that, I will leave you with 3 words. Like I always do, open your minds. And we are out of here, y'all.
The Prophet of Thought series. Open your mind.
Peace, folks.
Prophet of Thought series. Open your mind. Prophet of Thought series. Open your mind.